In this video, I'm going to talk to you about exactly how I had the blueprint on building 6-figure real estate income directly off just strictly using the VA loan. Now, this is going to be directly reflective of my story, not no one else's. And the reason why I wanted to do this video instead of our normal traditional Hampton Roads video is because I know this is one of those things where there's a lot of people who have questions about how this is even possible and how is it even something that you should even look into. As a matter of fact, I was inspired by one of the comments that I received on our recent video. I'll leave it here. You can pause the video if you want to check it out. But the main thing about that whole comment that I loved about it, it gave two different versions of how you could see where there's two different points of views. And I can agree with his point, but the main thing is just because someone doesn't agree with what you're thinking about doesn't mean that there's not more than one path to actually making the same thing work in general. And I want to discuss that today in this video. So my name is Craig Houston. I'm with the Moving and NORFOLK team. And if you're thinking about making a move to the Hampton Roads market at any point in time, I want you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel and ring this notification bell so that way you can be the first to learn about any and everything that's taking place in the Hampton Roads market. But secondly, I did 21 years in the United States Navy. I was a retired senior chief now, and I know exactly how to use the VA benefit to my leverage to actually get you into real estate the way that you would like to get into real estate. But not only that, let you retire where you can be debt free and have a real estate portfolio. So if you feel that this is one of those things that you can benefit from, I want you to watch this video all the way through in its entirety, because I'm going to give you the blueprint that I've used to actually generate where I'm at currently in my life, where we're able to do whatever it is that we decide to do when we decide to do it on our terms. So let's get into the discussion and let's break down exactly what that comment first said first, and then I'm going to go back and tell you how I actually initiated the same process and got to where we're at now while we're taking a walk over at Mount Trashmore in Virginia Beach. The commenter basically said that he differed with me at the point of where you should not even think about taking out a mortgage to actually buy a home. Instead, they believe that you should actually just save up, live on minimum costs, and actually build your savings to actually get to the point where you can actually purchase a home, which he said that he did, and it took them 17 years to get to the point where they was able to afford a took 17 years to get to the point where they can afford a $300,000 home, and they live mortgage free, and they're able to do all the things that they want to, I would imagine, in their lifestyle as well with no debt. Now, that's a great story and that's a great move, and I actually applaud that type of mentality. And if you're able to save and live on minimum costs, you should be able to save a significant amount of money to get to the point where you could have $300,000 in the bank to actually purchase a home. Now, I think I can understand the perspective, and I can also get behind the perspective, and I don't even have a problem with the perspective. What I want to discuss today, though, is that you could still have made better moves to get to that 300,000 even sooner. Yes, with debt, but also with the benefit of your VA loan that allows for you to be a homeowner sooner. That's one. But then two, take your military income that most service members get of basic allowance for housing, use that towards that VA loan payment, and it's basically like you're letting the military pay for your lifestyle and your housing, but then at the same time you're reaping the benefits of the capital gain that you can get from that and the profits that you can make on it in the midst of actually maybe selling that home. So that's why I have a little bit of a difference in it. But instead of me just talking to you about it in actual just giving you reasons to believe it, I wanted to actually just walk you through the scenario that happened to me as I was in the military, and think that will help give you a little bit more of a guidance. And if you have more questions and comments about this whole situation, I really would love for you to go ahead and leave me a comment down below at any given time throughout this video at any points of the story, and tag the timestamp as well too, so that way we can reference that in this conversation that we're having. So in 2014, I was getting ready to detach from Washington, D.C., and we was getting ready to be reassigned to San Diego, California. During that time frame, we had been renting our whole entire time in the military, and I decided that, you know what, I'm almost 30. I think it'd be a great time to actually purchase a home, actually get our family some stability, and let them have something that they can call their own. But then at the same time, we didn't have to worry about landlords anymore. That was the main thing that I thought about back at that time. I wasn't even worried about profits in real estate or anything of that sort, or building wealth through real estate. It's not on my mind. So I don't want to make it seem like I had the blueprint right away, but things soon change, and I'll get there as soon as I possibly can. Now, when we actually purchased a home in San Diego, California, with a great agent who was actually able to help us find the home, video record the home, do video walkthrough for the home, when we was not even thinking about video walkthroughs being prevalent prior to the pandemic. This is in 2014, guys. And what we did was purchase that home sight unseen in person, got the home off the market. Sellers was able, my agent was able to negotiate with the sellers to give us full closing costs to actually offset our down payment, offset our closing cost fees that we would have to close on the home. Now, when that happened, we came out of zero money out of pocket to actually purchase the home, but we used our VA loan to secure it, okay? Now, I'm gonna use real figures in this video so that way we can make sure that we stay on course with what this conversation is about. And that's to address how you can become you can earn six figures in real estate just by the utilization of your VA loan. Now, at the time of us actually purchasing the home, we purchased the home for $340,000 in San Diego, California. It was actually in El Cajon, California, of San Diego. So let's talk about it. In San Diego County. We was over in El Cajon. We stayed right on the other side of the Target. If you know where I'm at, you know. So now we had this detached condo that we lived in for 5 full years. Okay, we lived there. We made the normal mortgage payment, made minimum upkeeps to it, well, upgrades to it. Like, we really didn't make any major overhauls to this property at all. We just basically lived our lives, did what we wanted to do as homeowners, and let the military pay for our mortgage, because our BAH was more than our mortgage, and even the utilities that we was actually having to afford in California as well too. So now we was actually netting a profit on the mortgage from using our BAH, but we wasn't paying it out of pocket. You fast forward 5 years later to 2020. I'm in Romania. We're getting ready. I'm having to head out of Romania because the pandemic became a reality, and we was actually selling our home at the same time as the pandemic. One of the many few military service members traveling to relocate to the next duty station during the pandemic, and that led to where we actually sold our house for $500,000. Okay. Now, in 5 years, we were able to net over $140,000 after you minus out the fees that we had to pay for actually paying agent costs, and actually, we paid a little bit of closing costs to help the next buyer actually get out of the home, get into the home. Now, tell me where you can actually go and you could have not invested your own money that the military actually gave you, that they actually paid for, and you actually reap the benefits of actually coming out with $140,000. Now, so if we're keeping track of that, I mean, we're talking, you're looking at 20, almost 25,000 annually a year that you was making in profit by just simply living your life, doing what you're supposed to be doing, being assigned to the military, and then also taking advantage of your BAH, living underneath the BAH, to where it actually is paying not only your mortgage, but your expenses as well, to where you can actually come away with basically money that you profited on just living the life that you should. Now, that $140,000 was now then turned into our next home in Virginia when we got to the location here. Now, we did stay in base housing 2 years during the pandemic. But once we decided that we was going to be, settling down, and I was going to retire, we decided to go ahead and purchase a home. But that money that I actually was able to save from, well, actually earn from just living in San Diego and enjoying our time there, was able to be landed into the next home, where we actually had to be able to negotiate during the roughest time of the pandemic, where everybody knew that interest rates was very low, that buyers had a lot of cash, and sellers was just basically getting multiple offers of every home that was in the community. So we wind up having to put $20,000 in closing fees to actually get to the next house, okay? But when we got to the next home, what landed from that is now that we've now earned additional in equity already over about $100,000 as well too. So now if we're talking about if we talk about we purchased a home in 2014, in the last 10 years versus the 17 years that individual talked about and discussed with his $300,000, we have already exceeded $250,000 in just 10 years and just using VA loan benefits. But here's the major kicker, guys. We have not used any of our own money theoretically, because every dollar that we made off that house sale, it came from the military paying the mortgage. And then also I used that same portion of that money to actually purchase the next home with paying my own closing fees out of pocket. So theoretically, I am still netting off the money that we've already utilized, that we didn't have to spend no money to come out of pocket with in the first place. So to me, this is when you have to realize, like, what is the game plan for you? Now, I'm telling you, I did this when I already had 12 years worth, 12 years in the Navy, okay? Now, imagine, let's put this in your situation. If you have 5, 6, even 3 years in the Navy. I've been helping service members who have 2 years in the Navy secure their next home. But let's just say you have 3 to 5 years in the Navy now, and you're going to be moving from assignment to assignment, and you're now turning some of these homes that you're purchasing into rental income that becomes passive income that you basically have to maintain with a property manager, and just keeping a tenant in place while you're still actually living your military career and doing the things that you want to, that's earning you passive income on top of the equity that's growing inside these properties, because you have tenants still living in the way and helping you pay that mortgage. This could lead to where you can have a massive explosion of income and savings, and being able to buy your dream home or live your dream life once everything is said and done. So to me, I don't have the problem with the discussion on how it actually goes with, if you want to save your own money and purchase your own house outright in cash. Well, to tell you what, on this theory that I have, if you're doing that 2 times over, 3 times over, you can actually sell your portfolio and still buy your home in cash and still come out on the same end of this. Now, the real thing is here, there's going to be disagreement about what I've just said. There's going to be disagreement about how I feel about the VA loan, and that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. I would love for y'all to just let me know some of the things that y'all have seen, or some of the things that y'all have experienced with when it comes to actually leveraging your VA loan benefit, a helpful tool for military service members to actually take advantage of, to actually be homeowners while on active duty, or even after they complete their active duty as veterans. They can still purchase homes, whether they have the maximum income they need or not. They still are in a better position to purchase a home, to give their family, the dream of home ownership. Some people don't see home ownership as a dream, and that's okay too. But the main thing is, I really want y'all to understand that there's multiple ways to actually get to the same perspective as this gentleman discussed in his comment. And I love the comment, because like I said, it's a matter of opinion and a difference of opinion, and I can respect that. And so this is one of the things, as a real estate agent, that I have in this market, where I would love to just make sure I always tell people, there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way to negotiate a deal. There's more than one way to purchase a home. And it's just a matter of what matters to you the most, and what gives you the best way to sleep at night. That's really what it comes down to. So when you figure this out, you will know the next thing that you need to do next. But I always just want to make sure that I give insight to that. So now, let's fast forward this to 2025 here now, right? If I was a service member right now, and I was thinking about purchasing a home right now, and I wanted to leverage my VA loan benefit to the maximum extent possible, I would not be looking at single family homes, okay? Did you know, as a service member, that you can use your VA benefit to actually buy a duplex, triplex, and quadplex? Now, You can buy up to a 4-unit home now with your VA loan. And it's always been this way, but a lot of service members just don't usually take advantage of it. They're more so focused on single family residential. Now, in the Hampton Roads market, what I think that's a little bit more difficult to do is because there's a lot of upkeep that goes into a lot of these properties. Or if they are move-in ready, we're talking about another $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 in purchase price that you're talking about actually purchasing, and again depends on how many units that we're talking about. But the reason why I would pick a multifamily unit if I was starting out and I was 21, 22, a single individual, even I'm just married and maybe even have one kid, I would possibly still consider having a duplex where it's like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and the other unit is like a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, where I'll live in one unit, I will actually rent out the next unit. And then that way, you're actually having one unit offset your mortgage, or better yet, pay your whole mortgage if possible. So those are things that I like to think about if I was a young circle. Actually, with a VA loan benefit, a little money in my pocket, if I did have a little bit of money, perhaps the last video, why I say a little bit of money, because the market is ever changing. And I want you to be in a position where you can actually win. But at the same time, I will say, one of the best things that you can do is do what's right for you when it comes down to purchasing a home, because at the end of the day, it's about how you want to live your life. Now, one of the main things that we did when we actually sold that house in San Diego, paid off all debt. So it frees you from any responsibilities on anything else, right? So, like I said before, I don't disagree, but there are perspectives that you may want to take into consideration that a lot of people don't. And when they don't get to take those into consideration, they lose out on a lot of opportunities because there's only one form way of thinking. And I'm just offering a different perspective. So in closing on that perspective, if you're thinking about purchasing a multifamily property, the main thing that I would like to say to you that you want to take into consideration is that, hey, if you're doing this with your VA loan, you don't have to live there 2, 3, 4 years. House hacking means you get into the home as soon as you possibly can. You live there for just a minimum of a year, put another tenant in your unit, and now you have 2 tenants paying your one mortgage, okay? And if they're able to be rented for the same amount as your mortgage, you're winning. If it's a small amount, $200, $300, you're still winning in my opinion. And then you can still go purchase another property with your VA loan. That's the main thing, okay? We talk about all those things and more as we continue to progress to move in the NORFOLK channel. And if you have questions or if you have comments about any of this stuff and you want to have a direct conversation about it, feel free to give me a call or shoot me a text any given time. No matter the time or the day, I'll leave my phone down in the description below, and I'll leave my link down there as well too for the calendar, so you can call up the calendar. So, without any content, comment down below. Let me know what you think. And if you like this type of content, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And I'll catch you in the next video. It's been your boy Craig. Stay safe.